Hey guys, welcome back to TBC Kids Corner. As you can see, the lab accident that left Virgil tiny, we haven't quite figured out how to reverse it yet, but we're working on it. So today's video might be a little on the shorter side, no offense, but we are still working really hard to get him back to Virgil size. Also, it's a holiday weekend, so I might want to relax just a little bit at some point. He's cranky. It's okay. So we'll do our video, and then we're going to go back to the lab and try to fix this. So Virgil, are you okay if we make this video for the kids? It's for the kids. Okay. All right. I'll set you back down over here. All right. So we are still talking about how to fluoresce, or how to take in light and put it back out there. That's what fluorescence is. So as Jesus followers, we have the light of Jesus in us, and it should shine from the inside, even when things look really bleak and dark. So we look just like everyone else in the world, but when the going gets tough, we have that light of Jesus inside of us. So I thought I'd do another little experiment for us this week, and I bought myself some flowers. Now, these aren't fancy flowers, but they are all the same color. They're all very white, and they all look very normal. But there's something different about some of these flowers. Some of them might fluoresce a little bit. Let's turn the lights off and see what's gonna happen. Ready? Look at that. Do you see it? Let me help you. Some of my flowers look like they're giving off a light of their own under the UV light. It is so cool. Oh, I wish it would glow without the lights. But what I did to get this effect, very scientific. The water that we made last week while we were making our invisible ink pens, I saved just for this experiment. So I put this half of the flowers into one of the solutions that we made that had the water and the fluorescent ink from the highlighter in it, and I let it sit for a few days. The other side, I just put in regular water. Now, the way that plants drink is what made this happen. So plants need sunshine and they need water. And plants in their stems have something called the xylem. And the xylem is like a straw. And as the flowers let go of water and oxygen, because the sun is shining down on them so it evaporates out of the top, the xylem is like a little elevator straw. It sucks the water up all the way to the petals where it evaporates again. So it's this cycle of it's sucking up water and letting it go. That's why when you get plants or flowers, the water goes down, because it's constantly sucking it up like a straw and letting the water go. But with the ink, and some of you may have done this before with food coloring to make them different colors, is the water evaporates, but it leaves the ink behind. That's why it's most concentrated in the tips of the flower petals. And it's really cool because you can see kind of the veins of the petals where the ink has stopped. So it takes a while to do this, but it's a really cool thing to do. You can try it out yourself. I don't even have to waste a highlighter, really. You could just kind of squeeze a little bit of the ink out of that middle part into some water and stick some flowers in there. Usually white works really well. I have mums and daisies, carnations work really well too. And put it in that highlighter water and just let it sit for a few days, and then shine a UV light on it and it will fluoresce. So this is how we should be. Though the flowers all look white and look the same, once you get them into the darkness, there's a light that comes out from inside of them. And that's what Jesus says we should be like. Now that leads us into what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about truth. And I have a story for you. Today, we're going to talk about truth. Truth is really important to God. He talks about it over and over again, and there are some characters in the Bible that lie, and we see how God deals with them. Spoiler alert, he does not like it. So it's one thing to talk about you telling a lie and you being honest, but what if you hear something that sounds true, but it's not? What if someone tells you something or you see something on the internet or on TV that you don't know if it's true or not, but you're going to pass it along anyway? Let's talk about what it means to hear something and not actually ask any questions about it. So we're going to start with a story about me, Miss Liz. When I was small, younger, little Liz, I was a happy-go-lucky kid who went to school, had family, all the normal stuff. I had a friend. And my friend, she went to the same school as me. We were really close. She was a little bit older than me, but we still hung out a lot. And I believed everything she said. She'd never given me a reason not to. And so anytime she told me something, I absolutely believed her. One time, she told me that there was a house across the street from our school that we could see from our playground. And in that house lived a witch. And she used to eat kids. I absolutely believed her, and I was terrified of the house. We would stand in the playground during recess and just look at the house and think, there's a witch in there. She wants to eat us. Later on, I found out that really wasn't true. It was just an old house, and there was an older lady that lived there. But she wasn't the kid-eating type. Another time, she told me that her house was haunted. This was a house that was old, but she swore that there was a ghost in there. And I believed her. I was terrified. I didn't want to go over to her house. It was so scary. Later, I found out that wasn't true either. She just said that to make me scared. I don't know that she was really a good friend at all. She kept telling me stories to scare me or to get a reaction out of me, and I would think they were true, but they weren't. After a while, I stopped believing anything she told me. She would try to tell me more stories, but I knew she was just trying to lie to me and to get me to believe things that I didn't know weren't true at the time. But if I had asked an adult or talked to someone I trusted, I would have known right away that those were not real facts. Sadly, if my friend had ever tried to tell me something serious that was true, I don't think I'd ever believe her. She hurt this relationship by sharing things that were lies, and I believed them. The Bible talks a lot about what it means to listen to foolish people and how to be wise. Let's take a look at a couple Proverbs. In the book of Proverbs, which is in the Old Testament, we get a lot of little bite-sized thoughts and ideas of how we should live like God wants us to. There are some characters in the book of Proverbs that aren't what you would think of as real people, but they absolutely are. Two of those characters are the fool and the wise person. Now, all through the Proverbs, God talks about what a fool does versus what a wise person would do. And when it comes to hearing things and making sure that they're true before they pass them on, God had actually quite a few Proverbs to talk about there. So the fool, they think they're always right. When they hear something that they think is right, they're like, no, I'm right. I'm not going to listen to anybody. The wise person, though, they listen to others. They hear something and they go ask someone about it to make sure that it is true before they say anything. The foolish person shows everyone their foolishness. They will fall for something that's not true, but before they look into it, they'll tell everyone. They show people just how foolish they are. The wise person, They don't show off their knowledge. Instead, they act on it. If they see something that is maybe not true, they go check it out. Or if they know something, they act on it instead of sitting around and talking about it. A wise person speaks nonsense. They hear those untruths and they just keep talking about them. They want everyone to know. The wise person shares wisdom. They share what they know is true because they've looked into it or it comes from a trusted source. And the fool believes everything without question. They see something sensational, they see something crazy and huge and amazing, and they share it without even looking at it. The wise person asks questions. They see something amazing and sensational and they go, well, wait a second, is that really true? I think I should check into that. Sometimes we hear things from people, our friends, the TV, sometimes even family members, that sound true and they sound crazy. But if you take a second and check, talk to someone in your life that you trust who is wise, you might get a different answer. I'm not saying that these people are necessarily lying themselves, but they're passing lies on without checking to see if they are in fact lies or truth. So as you go through your life and you hear things that sound just either too good to be true or too scary to be true, chances are they're not true, and you should double check that. So as we could see, truth is really important to Jesus. What is true and what is not true are two very different things. And if you always say things that aren't true, once you try to tell someone something that is true, they might not believe you. If you keep saying untrue things and then you try to share Jesus, who is real and who is true, with them, they might not listen to you. So if you ever hear anything that you're not quite sure is true, make sure you double check with someone you trust. And that's really what I want you to do this week. If you hear something from a school friend, a family member, on the TV, on the internet, make sure you double check that it's true before you start telling other people about it so that you don't spread untruths. Anyway, well, we are going to get back to the lab. As you can see, Virgil has his mask on because we apparently need to go get some more supplies. Apparently we're low on applesauce. So make sure you guys, when you go out, wear your mask because I miss you. And I'd love to see you again soon. And we can't do that until we are all in this together. So when you leave, put your mask on, make sure it covers your nose and your mouth, and stay safe. Have fun. Have a wonderful 4th of July, and we will talk to you guys next week. Bye. Ready to go?
Will Miss Liz and Virgil find the cure to make Virgil Virgil-sized again? Will Tiberius glow in the dark after eating Miss Liz's flowers? Will Miss Liz talk like this forever? Tune in next week for another installment of TBC Kids.
Okay, stop. That's not food. Not food.